Okay, so I don't usually make these kind of videos, but I don't know why, but I wanted to just talk about Six Flags. So y'all know Six Flags, everybody knows Six Flags. The pinnacle of mediocre theme parks. Well, you know, sometimes Six Flags is wild. So, Six Flags Great Adventure is the one I go to always, right? And here's the first thing. So, one of the first things that comes to mind when having etiquette at Six Flags is not comparing the size of your fireman in the bathroom. I don't understand why at an amusement park you would be doing that. Not to mention that I have witnessed this on multiple occasions. Like, actually, genuinely, do it at literally anywhere else. And then we also have King Ka. So King Ka, for those who don't know, is the world's tallest roller coaster. Um, and it's a pretty fun ride, and I was waiting for it. I typically do not like sitting with other people on a two-seat ride. And I feel very uncomfortable whenever somebody sits next to me on a two-seat ride. If it's four across, like a B&M coaster, I'm fine with that. But, like, so what happens is, King Ka has a very strict no loose articles policy, meaning even if you have a zippered pocket, you can't get on a ride if you have loose articles. So the guy next to me hands me his jacket, his hat, and something else, and says, "Give this to them." And I'm just sitting there like, "What?" Like, dude, you sat next to a socially awkward autistic girl. What do you think that she's gonna do with this information? And like, oh wait, hold on, and like, then he drops his lighter, and then the ride op comes up and says, "Bro, please do not have a lighter in your pocket on this ride." And then he's like, "I'm just going to keep it in my pocket." And then they say, "No, you're not allowed to do this." And he says, "I'm going to keep it in my pocket." Like 4 times. And then they finally take away his lighter. After this, so King Ka then goes down, or no, goes forward and then goes through an S curve down to a, what's the word? Down to a little launch zone. So it'll stop, it'll back up a little bit, it'll say arms down, heads back, hold on, and then launch you. This dude pulls out a cigarette and puts it in his mouth, unlit. He didn't have the lighter anymore. Just put it in his mouth. And I really wish I could have, like, cussed that guy out or something, because it made me really angry. I should not have to put my hands across my face in fear on a roller coaster. I should be putting my hands in the air out of excitement. Nothing happened after that, but like it was really annoying and I was pissed off. Normally I go, see, just a side note, I only ride King Ka if it's on a day where it has a really short line. And I'll usually binge it there. So, and it just ruined it. I didn't want to go back on. Now, that same day, I went on Green Lantern. For those who don't know, Green Lantern is a stand-up roller coaster, aka you stand on it. So I go in line, and the group in front of me has to stop. They have to stop the train, and they escort people off. The reason for this was that the individuals that were trying to ride the roller coaster lacked a leg. Each of them were missing a leg. Now look, there is absolutely nothing wrong about handicapped people enjoying roller coasters. But with all due respect, is it not like pretty obvious that you would need both legs to ride a roller coaster where you stand up on it? And then, like, and literally, I was in line and I was kind of confused because both of them literally they looked like friggin' both of them were like had the little crutch things that Jimmy has, like Jimmy from South Park. They had those crutches, and they didn't get in trouble, but they had to get off the ride for obvious reasons. Now, the last story I want to talk about is probably the only time I've ever wanted to beat the shit out of someone at an amusement park. So there was this guy. I was in line for Jersey Devil. When I go to Six Flags Great Adventure, I binge Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil is a fun ride, and the capacity is incredible. So that day, the line was starting to get a little big because end of the year, so I believe they took off a train or something. Or they took off, they were running 3 trains, and they had taken off one of them. So I hear this dude. It was multiple things. Firstly, this dude is yelling at someone saying that he says, "I'm older than you, stop telling me what the fuck to do." Multiple times. Screams, like, is borderline screaming this. And then, after that, he proceeds to say, "You people just want my money, go fuck yourself." Now, what was he doing with this? What was the reasoning for this? Well, the reason was that he wasn't allowed to have his phone in a zippered pocket. He was angry that he had to have a locker. Fun fact, the security at Six Flags does not make a commission off of people using lockers. Now, what made this worse is that this guy had a kid. And kid was like really young, probably like just tall enough to ride Jersey Devil. Comes in line and cuts in front of me. And I say, "Hey dude, I say politely because while this guy's volume was a bit obnoxious, I always try to remain polite and calm. I said, excuse me, you kind of cut in front of me." And he looks at me, literally, you can't make this shit up. He looks very angry and says, "I have a kid," which apparently allows him to cut in front of people. And I say, "Sir, I see that, but that doesn't mean you can cut in front of me." Then he gets pissed and says, again using the excuse that he is older than me, says, "Don't talk back to your elders, cracker." So in this sentence, he both stated to be respectful and said something rude. And then I say, "I'm not talking back. I am just not happy that you cut in front of me. If you asked, I would have more than if you asked, I would have been more than happy to allow you to get in front of me, because Here's the thing about Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil doesn't assign seats, or you don't have assigned seats. You can't pick your row, because each row is one per row. So you just have to get what you get and you don't get upset. And a lot of times, when one or two people get in front of me, I get the seat I want. But no. And then after I say, if you wanted, I would have gladly let you in front of me if you had asked. And then he says, don't tell me what to do. I'm older than you. Again, saying this as if it's like a free pass. And then look, I am not somebody that wants to ever escalate like something like this. So I just say, I apologize, sir. And then I say, I apologize, sir. I hope you enjoy the ride. It's a fun ride. And then he looks at me with an angry expression. Then security comes up. Security is like the protagonist of this story. Security comes up and says to the guy, can't cut people, please get to the back of the line. Doesn't yell this time. But then, after a little bit, things went quiet, there was no issue. Then, they asked, is there any single riders? And I raised my hand, because single rider, when they ask that, usually means that they're trying to get the back seat. Fill the back seat. So I raised my hand, and they get me over there. And then as the train is departing the station, I see that guy giving me a thumbs up with the most shit-eating grin I've ever seen in my life. Like, you do not know how much I wanted to slug that man in the face. You can't make this shit up. And I guess the last story I want to talk about is my first ever experience on El Toro, which in my opinion is the best roller coaster ever made. But what happened, when I went in line, there was a bunch of rowdy high schoolers in front of me. I was with my mom at the time. But we were waiting in line, and the line took a long time. We got in the station, and we hear all these rowdy teenagers yelling at somebody. They're yelling at this person because they were a larger gentleman, and he was unable to fit in the ride. So they were calling him fat, they were calling him slurs, they were just being real mean to the guy. And then, after that, another train runs. They close the ride down. I heard a ride operator say, I need gloves. Somebody shit themselves on the ride. You know, El Toro's a really intense ride, so I can understand it causing that. Even my mom, when we rode that for the first time, she was like, I understand why somebody shit themselves on this. But I love Six Flags, especially because of stories like this, so I hope you guys are okay with this different kind of content, I guess is the word. I just randomly thought, why don't I make this? This would be interesting. So yeah, if I come up with any more stories, I might make more videos about it, but that's all. Bye.